Well, I'm here with Brother Al. This is Brother Toyman, and we're en route to church. It's Sunday morning, and this is the Sunday morning meeting down at Steve's Railroad. We're going down there for some significant screwing around on his O-scale railroad. But Steve is going to be showing us his new boat shop that he's constructed for the harbor area. And this is a very cool boat shop because it includes a boat railway. And I'll let Steve explain to you exactly what a boat railway is.
Well, I've had in the back of my mind for probably a quarter of a century to build a marine railway. The original inspiration was the Pillar Point Marineworks that Nash and Greenberg did back in the 70s. And so that's stuck in the back of my mind all those years. About that same time, the Gazette came out with a plan for a firehouse in the November-December Gazette. And a beautiful little building. So I took the plan for the firehouse and turned it into a Marineworks.
What marine railways do, or did, because there's not very many of them left anymore, is simply a way to pull a boat up out of the water. These days, you'd typically just pull those out with a truck, something like that. Back around the turn of the century, it wasn't quite so simple. So what they would do is build a large railway, something with a very wide gauge, 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet, and then there'd be some sort of cart built that would ride on those rails that had a saddle there that the boat would sit in. So you'd lower that into the water under the boat and then hook the boat to the saddle and then pull the whole thing up out of the river or the ocean or the lake, and then you could do maintenance work on it. Steve's railroad is called the Rio Grande and Pacific. Many of the Colorado narrow gauge railroads, like the Rio Grande, intended to build all the way to the Pacific, but they just never really made it. On Steve's railroad, they made it. They're here at the Pacific Ocean. Gives him the chance to model a harbor area. The harbor area is something of a Barbary coast. It features ships and fish restaurants and bars and sleazy bars and your typical sort of waterfront fare, along with Colorado narrow gauge stuff. The new Marineworks is right at the harbor, right near the mouth of the river, which exits into the Pacific Ocean. Steve's construction technique consists of building the basic structure out of balsa wood, and then he layered over the shingled sides with wood veneer, in this case burl wood veneer, cut into little shingle strips and then glued in place. For the sided parts of the building, evergreen plastic was applied over the balsa wood. The trick here is finding an acceptable glue. Cyanoacrylate, super glue, works great for this, but it does tend to fall apart after a number of years. The basic structure sits on a foundation cut out of wood. Grant line window and door castings are mounted right into the wood with nice looking little wood frames around that. The window dormers on the roof are simply constructed right out of the sheet plastic and then mounted in board-by-board roof construction. The inside of the building is also done board-by-board by simply gluing strip wood to the inside of the balsa wood to look like wall studs, and then the whole thing is painted. Steve has also constructed the hoist mechanism out of available white metal castings and scratch building a brass boiler. He is setting this thing up to be operational, but the gears here won't actually go around, just the cable will pull through there. The railway itself is built in the usual manner of simply laying down wood ties and then laying rail on top of that. Then the whole thing is meticulously and carefully painted and detailed. It's called the Tabby Point Marineworks. Here we can see the operational marine railway pulling the boat up into the building. The boat's not finished at this point, but you can see that it looks great anyway coming up inside the building. The boat is being constructed from an old 60s plastic model kit by Lindbergh, the same one that was used in the magazine article that inspired Steve originally.
in the Nash Greenberg article of a quarter of a century ago. They used the old Lindbergh spy ship, which is the same ship as what is here. And I'm not doing it exactly the same as they did, but somewhat similar. I've taken the floor and cut out part of the planking so that I can simulate them replacing some of the planking on the floor. I've cut out some of the side and put some ribs in because we're going to replace some of that planking on the side of the ship also. My friend Alan Badham has taken a 25th scale Model T Ford engine, and I'm going to cobble it into some kind of a diesel or gas marine engine. I'm not going to do too much to it, but I am going to take the Model T Ford head off of it and replace it with something that's a little bit more like a marine engine.
So that's Steve's Boat Railway. It's an awfully cool addition to an already awfully cool railroad, and it'll be nice to see it when it's completely 100% finished, which it almost is. At this point, the structure is completely finished. He just needs to finish the hoist system and the ship itself, and then the whole thing will be done, finito. And he's moving on to, are you ready for it? The lighthouse. Because, you know, it's the ocean, you gotta have a lighthouse. So he's got a lighthouse all designed and figured out, and that's gonna go in there as well. Well, anyway, another brilliant and successful Toy Man video. Look for us here often. Look for us on YouTube, on Vimeo, like me on Facebook, wherever else. I'm not sure how you found me on the internet this time, but I hope you didn't find me boring.
He's boring.
I'm boring.
He's boring.
I try not to be boring. Anyway, I'll see you again here soon.